right, now transitioning into your senior year, Luke, 2021. I was not there. I don't think I looked at the pool that often. I think you would email our family with everything, like with your stories, but I don't think I read it very much, I'll be honest.
Yes, so my senior year on the quill, as I believe we've already said before.
The first issue, I had the front page, though, because the freshman orientation issue, I had the front page.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah.
my legacy remained for a little bit.
That's true. But senior year of the quill was in person.
Yeah, so very different for you.
It was in a classroom. It was our final period of the day, which was pretty interesting for the fall semester because I had cross country directly afterwards. Because
Mr. Z was the head coach, yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd wear a suit.
Absolutely.
Class. He'd wear a suit every single day.
Well, no, here's what he would do. He'd wear a suit in the final period of journalism. And then, of course, when school ends and, we're kind of getting ready to go to, cross-country practice behind the school, he would show up, 20 minutes after all the kids would. But, he would be, in, a long-sleeve jacket and shorts or something like that.
And Mr. Z is incredibly fit.
Yes.
Incredibly fit.
Yes.
Toned. His marathon times are insane. 2:42 marathon time. That's absolutely insane. For context, our grandpa, he's the big distance runner, he got 3:03. 2:42 of Mr. Z.
I bet Jaden can beat that. when Jaden runs the Minnesota Marathon this summer, he's going to beat that time.
Twin Cities Marathon, yeah. I want to run with Mr. Z. I should contact him.
Okay.
Mr. Z, we'll send you a link to this episode when it's out.
Sure. But yeah, so it was in person this time, and before we get into the reviews, I just want to talk about the classroom, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of students in there who Mr. C described as being on the loud side, and he's not wrong. They were all over the place. I mean, I had a seat right in the middle of the classroom because that was the only way that you could be far away from someone making a bunch of noise, if you were in the middle. Because there are people in the front, the back, the sides, everywhere.
Well, didn't you have Mr. Z's English class right before the journalism class? So 7th period you had English, 8th period you had journalism. So you would just move seats in between passing time?
I'm pretty sure that's what I had in the second semester.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, so I would start in the front and then I'd move to the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, his classroom was wild because there was a bunch of students in there from all different grades who didn't give a rat's ass about journalism. They were just in there to try and get an easy A or B because they knew that Mr. Z, he pretty much coached you through how to get it.
Yeah, it was very hard to fail that class. The only way it was very hard to fail that class at Cooper at that time. The only way you'd fail is if you just didn't do anything at all.
And
if you did the bare minimum, you could at least do a C.
What was funny about his classroom was there was a student in there who I always knew was the loud one. He was the loudest one in there. And then years pass. I've graduated. Me and Max are making short films. We have built some connections at the University of Minnesota. And me and Max are helping out on a short film with Kyle, who has been our DP for some of our short films. And we're filming at his apartment, which he shared with...
And this is one of his own short films, FYI.
Yes.
Luke were you Boom for it?
Yes.
I was second AC, and I also had a cameo in it, too.
Yeah, so... It was shot at Kyle's apartment at the time that he shared with 3 other college students. And while we're setting up, there's this one fellow who comes out of the shower. And I'm like, I know this guy. And so then, he starts to come over and, he starts to get involved with, the production stuff. So then I kind of ask him, hey, did you go to Cooper? He's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we had Mr. Z's class together. And he was just like, what? So he kind of got kind of tense a little bit. And but then I'd say maybe a couple months later, me and Max actually saw Mr. Z in person because he was having a
he's a mixed media artist.
Yes.
He's having an art show.
Yeah, he was having an art show, so me and Max showed up to say hi and support his art. And I guess somehow I mentioned that I had run into this former student of his, and he was like, yeah, I had that former student for, I think English, and him and another English teacher, they realized that this student was using AI to write his essays, so they had to call him out on it and make him rewrite the essay. And so then it's just me, Max, and Mr. Z in Mr. Z's art show roasting this guy.
Well, I wouldn't say we were roasting him. From what
Yeah, we were.
What Mr. Z said, though, it sounded like him and the other English teacher, like, they didn't, like, fail the student right away. They, like, made him rewrite it, and, like, they did it, and they helped him out with it.
Yeah.
And he got it. Like, I feel like that's big of Mr. Z and this the teacher to say, okay, instead of, like, just instant fail, it's like, all right, don't do this. Let's try it this way.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, it's learning. So I think that's really
But then Mr. Z called him a moron to our face, and we were like, yeah, man, we agree. But, you know, this guy seemed like he had really turned things around. He was pretty chill.
From what I gathered from when we talked to this guy at that film shoot, he was like, oh, yeah, he told us about all the ChatGPT stuff that he did. And he was
That's
like,
right.
He's like, I even went in and spoke at Cooper about, like, my use of AI and how you shouldn't do it. So it's like, he turned his life, or he changed things, and I thought that, and I think that's great. And I think Mr. Z and the other English teacher, who I also had my senior year, were big reasons why.
Yeah, so he is not a moron anymore.
No.
We've all been morons in our life, I'll just say that.
Yes, we all have.
He's probably a cool guy now, which, you know,
And he and I played, like, detectives in that short film.
That's right.
Because he's also in it, too.
Yeah.
He and I, like, it's a film called The Portrait. It's about this guy who's painting a girl, and then, like, he, like, kills her, or she goes missing or something. But then at the end of the film, two detectives played by me and this other guy come to the room. We're like, hey, we're looking for this girl. And I hold up a photo for her. And the main character's like, huh, never seen her. And then shuts the door and the film ends.
Yep. So, you know, I just thought that I'd mention that before I get into my senior issues of the Quill, which I'll
please
get right back into right now. Okay, so for the first issue, which came out on November 5th, 2021, that was the freshman orientation stuff that
so
pretty sure was the last thing.
That was our last assignment for journalism the previous year. Because Mr. Z always likes to be prepared ahead of time. He's always like, all right, we have a freshman orientation issue prepared for freshmen. Then we can just have it out whenever. So,
and so for this issue, I for some reason was not allowed to do anything that was.
It was all geared toward like freshman orientation, and that's why it's called the freshman orientation issue. It was all geared toward freshmen and making sure that they're feeling welcome at Cooper. It'd feel weird if like a freshman's going through it and going, okay, I can learn how to do all this stuff. Avengers, this guy doesn't like Avengers. That game, what the heck? Like it'd be weird. That's why.
Yeah. So the two stories I did are not memorable at all. Like the first one I did was about the improv team, which you were on, Max. I wasn't on it.
Yeah, I was on improv in high school.
And then I did some story about like how ninth graders should adjust to being in high school. A bunch of bull crap, if you ask me now, because I just want to get into my old reviews.
Yeah, that was again, those were our last stories we had to write that year.
Yeah,
which was nice because then Mr. Z just had that one out.
So let's move on to the second issue where things get interesting.
Yes,
this second issue came out on December 3rd, 2021, and here's something that I want to say beforehand. The cross-country season ended in, I believe, October, November, something like that.
Yeah, end of October, and then you had the banquet early November.
Yeah, so when the banquet was happening, Mr. Z, he wanted to talk about each runner, I guess, individually in front of all the parents and stuff like that. So when it was my turn to go up, he mentioned that I have a leadership role in the school newspaper, and he told everybody what two things I was gonna be reviewing in the upcoming issue, which were Dune and Suicide Squad. Which is very awkward to be standing there.
I can just imagine Mr. G going, yeah, he's got two reviews coming up, Dune and Suicide Squad.
That is exactly how it happened.
Was it the Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
The Suicide
Okay,
Squad.
that makes more sense. Yeah.
Because they're both 2021 releases.
Yeah, I feel like Mr. Z did not like it when you did, like, we reviewed old stuff.
Well, yeah, and this senior year is full of new stuff because I caught on to that like he really appreciated when we would do things that just came out.
Yeah.
So
unless he was desperate for stories, he was like, all right, then like the Spider-Man 2 one.
He was not desperate this year because
you guys had a lot of people.
A lot of people, and I wrote a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I wrote a lot of shit in this.
My senior year, there weren't a lot of us on staff, but your senior year, there, from what I remember, there were a lot of people who wrote stuff because I think for us we had to write 2 articles per issue. For you, what was it, 1 per issue, or was it still a 2?
It was 2, but I think I did 3 and 4 as we went on.
Yeah,
we'll find out.
You kept doing more. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for my Dune review, which was of course of the 2021 sci-fi epic film starring Timothée Chalamet among others, that was titled "Epic Dune Benefits from Big Screen." 4 stars out of 5. And that title came from the fact that when we saw Dune, it was the first time in a while that we actually were going out to see a movie.
I wasn't there.
Oh,
I watched Dude on my own.
really?
Yeah. It
Oh,
was
yeah, that's
you,
right.
Dad, and his friend.
Yeah.
Was that at the Heights?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So me, my dad, and I'm pretty sure my dad's friend John. I'm pretty sure it was John. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the three of us. We saw Dune at the Heights Theater, which is in the Columbia Heights
Yeah, Columbia Heights. Yep.
area. And I did mention it in the Dune review, so that's why it was mentioned in the title. And for my Suicide Squad review, and of course that was for the James Gunn sequel, The Suicide Squad, that one was titled Suicide Squad Sequel Surpasses Original Film. 3.5 stars out of 5. So this is where I started doing stuff like with decimals, because I was getting more specific here.
Okay.
I was being like, okay, a 3.5 out of 5, that's basically a 7 out of 10. Yeah. And so for the third issue of the Quill, which came out on January 7th, 2022, I came back for this issue with another review of a 2021 release, and that was for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Oh yeah, I watched that. Yeah.
I did not see that in the theater. I watched that
I
on my
also,
phone.
I also didn't see that in the theater. I watched that at my ex-girlfriend's house. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one was titled Shang-Chi Brings New Hero to MCU. Pretty weak.
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. I mean, it's a new hero to the MCU.
I suppose that one got a 3-star rating for me, which was, not very kind. But I also did my favorite arts review in this issue for Red Dead Redemption 2. And that one was titled Red Dead 2 Remains a Landmark Game.
Had you played that game?
Absolutely. Dude, if there was one... No, if I had to summarize my senior year in 2 things, it was not about going to school. It was about that I started watching The Walking Dead, which is like my favorite show of all time. On the first day of my senior year, I watched the pilot and I was like, holy shit, this show's fucking cool. I gotta watch it all. And then what I would usually do after school, because I wasn't working at the time, like I didn't want to go back to my part-time job at the time for some reason.
Oh, it was COVID.
Yeah, sure. But pretty much what I would do every day after school was I would come home and play Red Dead Redemption 2 on my PC. So that's why I wrote a killer review of that game for the Quill.
What was it titled, or what's the headline for it?
I've already said it, but it was titled Red Dead 2 Remains a Landmark Game.
Yeah.
It's a simple title, but I really like it. Okay, for the Quill number 4, which came out also in January, on January 28th, 2022, I followed up my Shang-Chi review with yet another MCU movie that had come out in 2021, Spider-Man No Way Home. That one was titled New Spider-Man Brings Fan Faves Home. And I also gave this one a 3 out of 5 star rating, which I might stick with now, but I don't know, because
I haven't seen No Way Home since I saw it in the theater.
Me too.
I haven't and that magic for me of seeing it in the theater was like, I was like seeing Tobey Maguire back. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. I was freaking out.
Like, I mean, it was heavily speculated that him and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man were coming back for that movie, so I knew I had to review it for that reason alone, since I started off with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Sure.
But then I also did a TV review of Daredevil, which he shows up in Spider-Man No Way Home, like in a cameo role.
Yeah.
Which something that I also had a feeling about. And that one was titled Daredevil is the MCU's best TV series, which, I mean, at the time when I wrote this, it wasn't technically in the MCU, but now it is, because there's now like a legit Daredevil show that's set in the MCU that's out now. But at the time, it was pretty up in the air if Daredevil was coming back, but he made it. Hopefully, the same can be said for Hannibal.
Yeah.
But the Quill number 5, that one came out the day after your birthday, Max, March 2nd, 2022. And I did 2 TV reviews of this issue, which you guessed earlier, and they were for Netflix's Cobra Kai, the first 4 seasons of that show that were out at the time. And the second one was for the FX comedy series Atlanta, which was created by and starring Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino. And for the Cobra Kai title. That one was Cobra Kicks New Life into Karate Series, which is, a solid title. Which is not what I would say for the Atlanta title, which is just Atlanta is a new kind of comedy.
Yeah, these one-word movies or TV shows are tougher, I think.
For as weird of a show as Atlanta is, I kind of get it, because something else that happened in my senior year was when I did this review of the first 2 seasons of Atlanta, Mr. Z, that's all he wanted to talk about with me, which is crazy, because that's a show about rappers and like ghost stories, something that I did not think he would be interested in. But him and his family were so involved in that show, and like he would tell me his reactions to like watching some of the more crazier episodes, such as the Teddy Perkins episode, the Justin Bieber episode, etc. So that was very entertaining, going to his class every day, and like he gives me the update about how him and his family reviewed the latest episode of season 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's really what I remember the most about being in person senior year. That and of course the loud students.
Yeah.
But so for the 6th issue, which came out on April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2022, I reviewed a movie, a TV show, and a video game. So 3 things. This is where I started to really go for it.
Video game.
Max, can you guess the movie, the TV show, and the game?
I wasn't on staff this year, so I can't.
But Max, you remember all these reviews. I'm sure you do. Because some of them are really iconic in the grand scheme of the lore of our time on the newspaper.
Movie, TV show, and video game.
Here's what I'll say about the video game. You guessed it earlier.
Was it Origin? No. Asylum? No.
It's one of your favorite games.
Oh, Shadow of Mordor, yeah.
Shadow of Mordor was the video game. What was the movie or the show?
Was it a recent movie? Or it wasn't Taxi Driver? Okay.
It was Taxi Driver, which we have a poster of right next to us,
Taxi
which
Driver.
I just looked at to give Max the clue. And Max, the TV show was something I did reference earlier.
I don't know.
It was The Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, Boba Fett, yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't review season 2 of The Mandalorian, I did do The Book of Boba Fett, which
you called Mandalorian 2.5 or something.
Exactly, because like it pretty much is.
Yeah.
But the title for the Taxi Driver review was Taxi Driver Still Resonates 45 Years Later. And that was a review that I wrote a lot of shit in.
Yeah.
Some of which Mr. Z had to cut because it was not necessary.
Yeah, you talked about the John Hinckley.
Yeah.
And you had to cut that.
Which, I'm glad he cut that in hindsight, because I kind of was just like, yeah, John Hinckley, you're an asshole, but it's cool that you're not an asshole anymore and you have a YouTube channel now. That's probably what I said or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Taxi Driver, of course, got 5 stars. Great film. Watch it with your grandma. It's awesome. And for the Boba Fett review, that was titled Boba Fett, A Competent Star Wars Story.
That's a good one.
That was one Mr. Z came up with.
Low-key, one of his more underrated ones. I didn't remember that one.
And so, I gave The Mandalorian Season 2.5 a fitting 2.5 star rating out of 5.
Okay.
And then Shadow of Mordor, that one was titled Mordor Lets Gamers Enter Middle-earth. 5 stars.
That's not a bad title.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why I don't love it. It's too similar to the Batman Arkham City one of gamers should move to Arkham City. Like that one you could have never expected, and that's why it's so good.
Yeah, gamers should move to Arkham City.
For
what Arkham City is though, like it's like a super prison. Like,
exactly.
That's kind of funny. There's kind of some irony there. But like, what's this one? Gamers should move to more.
Mordor lets gamers enter Middle Earth.
This one.
It's fine. It's not bad.
It's not bad. Not bad. Yeah.
And so for the 7th issue, which came out May 2nd,
okay,
2022, I did my big epic review of 2022's The Batman.
Yeah, Something's in the Way of the New Batman.
That was the title of it, which was the first time I told first time that I told Mr. Z, can I make up the titles for the reviews? And he was like, sure. So I thought of Something's in the Way of New Batman because I had problems with it at the time. Now it's like a great film. It's so good that like we just parodied it with the White Wolf.
Yeah.
So yeah, and For the 7th issue, I did 2 more reviews as well.
Are they movie or TV?
Both. A TV show and a movie.
One of the movies must have been Doctor Strange, right?
That's in my last issue, but
Okay.
for the 7th issue, I did a full review of Breaking Bad, the TV series.
Okay.
5 stars, which which I come up with the title of Bad Broke New Ground for TV shows. 5 stars. And then for the movie, it was the Breaking Bad sequel movie titled El Camino.
Yeah.
And
El Camino, a satisfying conclusion to Bad.
Camino serves as satisfying epilogue to Bad. 5 stars.
Yeah.
But
Did you come up with that, or did he?
I did.
Okay, you did? All right.
I came up with, I think, all these
Oh, okay.
at this point. Because now we're on to the final issue, Max.
Yeah.
Of
You did 4 reviews.
the 8th and final issue. 4 reviews of all different
You did
genres.
a movie, TV show, video game, and album.
Yes. And for the album review, which is my first ever music review.
And only music review.
Yes, it was for the iconic record Nevermind by Nirvana, because I was really into the band at that point after seeing Something in the Way used in the Batman. That got me into the whole Seattle music scene. But at the time when I wrote this, I was only really getting into Nirvana and probably a little bit of Alice in Chains. But now, I know pretty much all the bands from huge to small to middle and stuff like that. But at the time, I was an idiot, or at the time, I was a moron, because I gave Nevermind, one of the greatest albums of all time, a 4-star rating out of 5. Undeserving of that, but that one was titled Nirvana Classic Lives Up to Hype. But in hindsight, I don't think I came up with that title. I'm pretty sure that was Mr. Z.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a title you'd come up with.
Yeah, but most definitely, out of all the reviews that I did for the Quill, this is the one I'm the most ashamed of, because I pretty much love every song on the record now. But at the time, I was going in on some of them and say, no, this is wrong, this is bad. But hey, man, I didn't know shit about music. I didn't know shit about records at the time, but I digress. The second of 4 reviews I did for the final issue was of a TV show, Better Call Saul, which at the time had only 5 seasons out on Netflix, but I'm pretty sure was in the process of putting out its 6th and final season. So, and yeah, I mean, because I was a huge fan of Breaking Bad, which I showed in the previous issue. So,
Yep.
that one was titled Saul is Stellar Expansion of Bad Universe.
Not a bad title.
4 out of 5 stars, which probably now is 5 stars because, it's more of a mature show, and at the time I was a teenager, but I digress.
Couldn't handle that. Couldn't handle it then.
Here's the Doctor Strange review, and that was a movie, Max, we saw in the movie theater together.
Yes, you came to the college I was at, and we saw it in the local theater.
Yeah, and Max, do you remember the story that Mr. Z had about a heckler in a certain movie theater? Because when we saw Doctor Strange, there was a unusually loud person laughing at pretty much every joke, which annoyed the hell out of me when I watched it. But then when I told that to Mr. Z, he had a hilarious story, which, Max, I think you can remember.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, do you want me to tell the story?
Absolutely.
It's pretty simple. Pretty much, Mr. Z, when he was younger, was at a movie theater, and there was a larger gentleman in the chair. I don't think it was next to him, or maybe he was in the same row as him. And the guy got up and flipped over all the chairs in the row because they were all connected. I could be wrong about that.
So Mr. Z and his entire family went flying backwards.
Supposedly, I don't know if they went flying backwards or if they caught themselves, but
It was like some Three Stooges shit from what he described it as. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my final movie review for the Quill was for a Sam Raimi movie, which was very fitting and very intentional on my part because, of course, I started with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and I figured, he has a new movie out. It's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Strange. Might as well have it end with that, have it be like a cool homage. But I titled this review, Raimi Makes Madness Worth Checking Out.
yeah.
2.5 stars out of 5, which probably agree with now, but, I probably haven't seen the movie since we saw it in the theater, which was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And last, but maybe least, I wrote a video game review of what was, for a time, my favorite video game. But it's now a game that I've recently retired from.
World of Warcraft.
It was of World of Warcraft, and that one was titled Warcraft Provides Some Excitement Despite Decline. But then I gave it a 3-star rating out of 5. Which was crazy because I was playing that game like every day, along with Red Dead 2. Like I would alternate between those two.
Okay.
Which, yeah. So for my senior year final issue, I did four reviews. Didn't pull any punches, and that was how I ended off my journalism career. And yeah, Max, do you have any closing thoughts?
I do, yeah. Just a couple things. The first thing is that Mr. Z went to my grad party after I graduated, and he bought me a book called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson.
He also gave me a book.
Yes, when you graduated.
In my senior year. It was a book written by a film critic, famous film critic, who I'm sure you guys have heard of, Roger Ebert.
Yep.
And it was titled, I Hated This Movie. And it's a book I still have, and I have frequently gone back to read as I've seen some of the movies in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still have it.
Yeah. So Mr. Z, he was definitely somebody who he had an eye for the unconventional, and he's not an unconventional guy when you look at him, you know, in a suit or whatever. But like if you get to know him, he's kind of unconventional.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. No. He's very, very nice. Very
in a very interesting way.
Very interesting way. Yeah, and that's why I always kind of because I first had Mr. Z freshman year for study hall.
Oh.
And I was like, why is this guy always wearing a suit? I was like, okay. I never, because it was study hall. I'm like, I'm not talking to this teacher if I don't have to.
My French teacher always wears suits.
It was actually, it's funny enough, it was in his French teacher's class.
Really?
And they'd alternate, yeah.
Wow.
Jomo and Z would alternate, so.
Man, that French teacher hated me. But anyways.
But yeah, Luke and I fully support student journalism. We both think it's very important that students have a voice, and I think writing for the Quill, especially during my senior year, was super important for both of us because not only did we have a class together for the first and only time, first time in high school. I think you and I also had a study hall together too.
Yeah.
But we also, like, we were a voice for the students in a way, and it was super cool that we got to do that, especially during a time where people won't forget.
COVID, yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I can remember about, like, COVID, it's probably just the routine that I had where, like, okay, like, we'd wake up, we'd go to Mr. Z's journalism class, and then...
On Zoom, or Google Meet.
Yeah, on Zoom or Google Meet. And then, of course, me and Max would have, like, another class with him. And then I think I had, like, a study hall or something like that, so I would go down in our parents' basement and, like, work out or something like that. And then I would go to my next class, and then I would take a nap, and then I'd wake up, have a meal, and then stay up way too late and rinse and repeat. But it was a fun, interesting time.
Yeah.
When everyone was dying in COVID.
Yeah, that was definitely a time I hope we don't have to go back to anytime soon.
Yeah, but you know, if this whole trip down memory lane serves as anything, is that we made the best of that time, and
yeah,
a huge part of that was journalism with Mr. Z.
And yeah, Mr. Z, he was great. I never once was like had a moment with him where I was like, oh come on, like Mr. Z. Like some of the teachers I had in high school, there's sometimes where they would do things that would annoy me, but Mr. Z never annoyed me at all. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that because we're recording and he's probably going to listen to this, but I'm saying that genuinely. Yeah. I never had an issue with him. Like I was like, he always was kind and always respected his students a lot, and I feel like that was just kind of I don't want to say a rare thing because I feel like every teacher at Cooper tried to respect their students, but if Mr. Z got disrespect from his students, he wouldn't retaliate. He just kind of
he'd deal with it. He'd take it.
Yeah, he'd deal with it.
He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he's thick-skinned, and that's something about him that I greatly admire.
Best teacher ever, best cross-country coach ever, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I wanted to end this episode of the Brothers Duel podcast with an ultimate tribute to Mr. Z. Max, I have ranked all of the titles he gave for all of my arts reviews from worst to best. And
Your arts reviews or mine?
Mine, not yours.
Okay.
Because Max only did like 3 reviews.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I did, on the other hand, I did 34.
Wow.
34 reviews.
Wow.
And here's my ranking of all of them from worst to best. Here we go.
Are you counting the ones you did or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. At number 34, a Nirvana classic lives up to hype. Which is, I don't think I came up with that one. Number 33 was Daredevil is the MCU's best TV series, even though it wasn't in the MCU at the time, technically. At number 32, Shang-Chi brings new hero to MCU. At 31, Avengers game is poorly assembled. 30, Warcraft brings some excitement despite decline. Number 29, Atlanta is a new kind of comedy. 28, Blade Runner takes on compelling topics.
That one's not good.
That's why it's at the bottom of the list. Speaking of which, 27, First Home Alone is holiday perfection, even though I give it 4 stars out of 5. 26, Camino serves as satisfying conclusion to bad. 25, Saul is stellar expansion of bad universe. 24, Raimi makes madness worth checking out.
That one's a good one.
Thank you. I came up with that one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But it's at like the bottom of my list. It was 24.
Okay.
23, Mordor lets gamers enter Middle-earth. 22, new Spider-Man brings fan faves home. Makes sense.
Yeah, true.
21, Hitman dramedy Barry is a great showcase for Bill Hader. I just like this one because it's so long. But like, he managed to fit that all on the page.
Yeah, these headlines have to be concise as possible, so that's...
Number 20, virtual theater show delivers laughs.
Yeah, I don't know what he would have titled that one, especially with how you reviewed it.
A virtual theater show is a shit show. That's what I would have wanted it to be titled, but of course, we couldn't swear in these reviews, even though I'm pretty sure I said what the hell a few times. And he was like, oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't...
Mr. Z was chill. He didn't care. Number 19, Taxi Driver still resonates 45 years later.
Yeah, I think that was the 45 years was probably Mr. Z digging at you. We're like writing a review for a movie that's 45 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it was a Taxi Driver, Breaking Bad, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Those were like my favorite things for like a brief period of time, like in that senior year era. That and like Walking Dead, which I was starting to watch. But yeah, 18. Friday game puts players behind the hockey mask. This one I'd probably put higher, but then the picture he used was of him not in the hockey mask. So
yeah, that I always kind of wondered about that. I was like...
minus points for that.
Yeah.
17. MCU gets closure in flawed endgame. That one he also used a weird photo in, but of course we already talked about that. 16. Suicide Squad sequel surpasses original. It's a lot of S's in that one, which, I like that. 15, bad, broke new ground for TV shows, which I came up with. 14, focus on young Batman helps Arkham shine. 13, first Spider-Man still spins its web. 12, epic Dune benefits from the big screen. 11, Red Dead 2 remains a landmark game. 10, Cobra kicks new life into karate series. 9, Boba Fett, a competent Star Wars story.
That one's really silly.
8, Snyder does more justice to League.
That's a good one.
7, Mandalorian blasts new life into Star Wars.
Not as good as the Snyder one, in my opinion.
Well, it's number 7.
Okay.
I don't know why. I as I've been reading this list, I've been kind of like thinking to myself, man, somebody should be higher or somebody should be lower. But yeah, I made this at like 10 in the morning today. 6, get ready for baseball with solid show.
That's a good one.
5, something's in the way of new Batman. I did that one. It's one of my favorites still. That's why it's number 5. 4, beware of returning to this Jedi.
That one might be my favorite.
That's a classic right there. For 3, gamers should move to Arkham City. This one is the most savage one because of the front page photo. The front page photo he used for the article, which I'm going to put on screen.
It was on the front page of the Quill, or was it?
The front page of the variety section.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Batman slamming like a car door into some guy's chest. It's super violent, but it's super epic, which was a shocking thing he chose. Number 2 is Fellowship remains the best ring. And number 1, Max, is obvious. You take it away. It's the whole reason we're here.
Oh, Brothers Duel over Wii Sports Resort.
And there you have it. That was our history as high school journalists for Robbinsdale Cooper High School, the Quill. My name is Luke Ricella.
My name is Max Jasper.
Good night.